Outlet, the podcast where we give you top tier football content. Today, we'll be discussing the transfer news and what's ongoing on the markets as we approach the deadline. I guess we'll be starting off at the biggest move, arguably in England's history, at 130 million pounds from a club that claims they don't like to spend money to win titles, and they've just completely bought the league. So, Prince, what's going on? What's the feeling with Liverpool now?
I mean, it's ecstatic everywhere now. It's ecstatic everywhere. There's so much joy. You know, coming from where we were being excited over Otomelo and the likes of them. We are now doing. In fact, FSG has really blown Liverpool fans out of the water. Nobody expected our window to be like this. No Liverpool fan anticipated this. So this is a wonderful time to be a Liverpool fan right now. I'm so ecstatic. Matter of fact, I did not sleep last night. I was just like, man, even though we knew that the deadline day was not going to be late in the night, I still could not sleep last night because I just wanted to hear that Isak's deal was done. And before I slept, oh, that was the first thing I heard. Oh, breaking news from Fabrizio. So yeah, so it's a joyous moment. That, even though some of these days are not yet completed, Isak and Gehi, which is like the final piece to the puzzle. Someone says Isak is you have the cake, then you have the icing on the cake, then you have the cherry on the icing. You understand? So that is what it is for us right now. Just see monitoring the window, see what's going on, and hopefully, in the next hour or two we should hear a confirmation from the club. Both players are still undergoing medicals. Guehi was told to do his medical in over there in London, while Isak is in Liverpool's facility. But the Guehi deal is a developing
Hold
story
on,
from
just
there.
sorry, just before we move on to the
Okay,
the
yeah.
Guehi deal. I mean, the Isak one. I guess the big question now is you've got Gakpo on form, you've got Ekitike on form. Does
Mhm.
Isak come straight into the team, and like what's going to be the dynamics over the
I
course
mean,
of the season?
I mean, so if barring this whole transfer saga, assuming we got Isak the way you normally get a player. Both clubs agree from the beginning of the window. You'd expect that Isak could have been part of the preseason, right? And then he goes straight into the starting lineup. But at this point, with backdrop of the whole issue with Isak and Newcastle, him not training with the squad, and having no preseason, you won't expect him to start like maybe after the international break. I don't think you'd expect him to just like go into the starting lineup immediately. He would have to work his way into fitness. So you'd expect that the first 2-3 games, he should start on the bench and then work his way into the starting lineup. That is the expectation.
So do you feel like the attacking depth in Liverpool is complete now?
I mean, to be fair, with or without Isak, I still feel like we had a pretty good, a decent attacking unit. If we just needed that extra depth, because of the Champions League, and other games to play. Plus, while Mohamed Salah going off to Afcon. So that's the major reason. We also had Harvey Elliott in the team, but Isak coming in, kind of like opened the door for Harvey Elliott to leave. So, but yeah, regardless, the attacking unit was okay, but now it's even better. So I feel like yes, we have guys to just like do the job. Proven guys in the Premier League. Besides Ekitike, who has shown within 3 games that he knows what he's doing. So yeah, I think our attacking unit looks formidable. I mean, everybody can attest to that.
Yeah, let me just ask because looking at the favorites for the title now, I'll probably say it's between Arsenal and Liverpool. But people say City, they're not looking too awesome at the moment. Damn, in terms of being Liverpool's challenges this season, how painful is this deal?
First, you must be very delusional if you think it's a two horse race anymore. wake up and smell the coffee. There's only one horse in this race, and the only way any other horse can catch up is if that horse dies miraculously on the way to win the title. The title challenge has ended before it even started. Liverpool, congratulations on winning the EPL title 2025-2026 season. And also I think this is, just to touch on the Isak deal, let me also say congratulations on the acquisition of Isak. I think it's also very, very wrong, and it should not be allowed in EPL where teams can just go out and spend almost $500 million in the window, regardless of what you sold. I don't want to hear I sold. There should be restriction on the amount you can sell. This does not make the league competitive anymore. This is the same thing we strongly criticize Manchester City about a few years ago. I remember Klopp coming to a press conference, and it was almost literally weeping on the press conference saying, this is not sustainable, that other clubs can't compete against Manchester City because of how, they kept on spending in the league, not knowing that, Liverpool was going to come and do worse than, Man City did. You can't just go out and you have the highest goal scorer in the league in your team and the third highest goal scorer in the league in your team also. How do you compete? Salah won golden boot last season, highest assists. Isak was second and third on the log sheet of highest goal scorer. You have both of them in the same team, and you also went out of your way to still go and splash almost 80 million on the KTK also. So what exactly are we discussing? We should just be talking about who will be second, who will be third, who will be fourth, and thereof. I think we should just give them the title, and they should just, let's call it a day. That's exactly what I say. I think this is a sad day for football. Football, we have known, should be very, very competitive, where you should allow people to express themselves on the pitch. But someone has come and they've bought the league. And I don't think things like that should be allowed. This is very, very disappointing. And
it's very convenient for you not to talk about the fact that Liverpool did not spend a dime last season. What are you talking about?
Chiesa came for free last season. Gravenberch came for free last season. You say no, please, don't come here with wrong information. Don't tell me you didn't spend a dime last season. Last season when you bought Gravenberch and it was in PFA Player of the Year. You bought Chiesa last season. So what do you mean by not spending anything last season? Please correct yourself. But you bought the league, it's fine. Congratulations to you. Just own it that you bought the league. What goes around comes around. So it's fine. It's your turn. Another team will also come. You can't be on top forever, but congratulations nonetheless. Thank you.
Convenient. Arsenal does not have any excuse if you ask me my own opinion, right? Because you guys have strength in depth, right? Strength in depth everywhere. There's nowhere you can look to and see there's no and besides we have 6 players that are brought in to start to go into the starting lineup. You'd expect that they'll need time to gel. Okay, I know everybody will say, you spent 500 million, you have no excuse, that granted, right? But the fact that these players need to gel gives us now also, another,
I beg to differ, So I think it's better you put things into context when we see some players need to gel. When a player is coming from a team that have that he's very familiar with the style of play, and is coming to a team that suits his style of play, he typically most often than not hit the ground running. Isak is a player that knows how to play with wingers. He can drop back. He can play on the left wing. He can beat his man and whatnot. That is exactly how Liverpool plays. Back then, remember Firmino will drop back. He allow Mane and Salah to, go up front. Later, Firmino comes to the front. Sometimes you see him on the wing. It's still the same thing. That's exactly how Isak thrives. That's how Ekitike thrives. That's exactly the kind of player. So you guys bought players that fit into your system. And let's be honest about it. There's nothing wrong with saying the truth. But since you decided to bring Arsenal into it, Arsenal bought some decent players, good players, but entirely different system for what they are used to. I know you want to, talk about Gyökeres. You and I know Gyökeres and Arsenal style of play are two different things. Arsenal love the attackers or the strikers to drop back, get the ball. That's not how Gyökeres plays. We want to talk about Eze on the left wing. Eze is a fantastic player. He knows how to beat his mind, knows where the goal is and whatnot. He's not a winger that will hug the touchline. I love wingers that will go and hug the touchline, and sometimes I think you love them more when you put your head to the ground and you're running straight. That's not the kind of player Eze is. So if you're telling me the kind of people that might need time to gel, I will understand if we're being truthful with ourselves. But like I said, congratulations to Liverpool. Let's not flog a dead horse. You guys have won the title already. The question now is, can you go unbeaten? Can you be an invisible like Arsenal did? You know, can you do the 100-point mark? That's exactly what your aim should be. Nothing else.
I think the Premier League is past that. The Premier League is past unbeaten. You know, that's what I no matter how good you are.
You've bought the league already. Why you have no? See, if you go unbeaten, is a failure. That's
Man City with all the players they had.
It's a failure. That's all I will tell you.
Well, it's good. We'll see how it ends up at the end of the day. But yeah, I mean, I would agree that, you know, from this point on, you know, everybody's expecting that Liverpool should, you know, go on to retain the title, which I should. Even before Isak comes, you know, was gonna come in, I still expected us to try to you know, retain the title, even though Arsenal had their squad in because for some reason I just felt like Arsenal, you know, whatever they are doing, they're assembling, you know, a squad to compete in Europe and whatever. But I still feel like that whatever makes them finish second, I don't know, it's something that it's just one of those weird ones where I feel like, you know, they will still miss out on it either ways, right? So yeah,
to leave this Liverpool man forming humble, let's focus on why we are here. It's transfer deadline. He's talking about telling why we're not going to win the league.
Let me go to Sam here. Do you agree with Dami that this league is done with what Liverpool has done in the transfer market, and then close to 400 million? It's over. They have the league already, and we should just pack up our bags and accept our fate.
No, not at all. Not at all. I agree with Dami. Remember, we are talking about EPL here, not the Farmers League. So,
in case you're not aware, FM is a farm. Man City won the league 4 in a row. How bad can it be? How bad is a farm than that? Let's tell yourself the truth. You know, call a spade, and not a farming tool. EPL is a farmers league, so don't say something else.
A farmers league. So where is Man City today now? What position are they after 3 games?
It's time for another farmer to take care of the farm now. Are you forgotten when Lyon was winning the French league seven times in a row, and PSG came and continued now down a 5-year or 6-year unbeaten streak? It's like that. That's how the farm works now. A different farm owner comes.
Guys, sorry to cut you in here. Since we're talking about transfers now, deadline day. So I mean, it's not confirmed yet, but I'm just developing story on Guehi.
Okay.
It's looking like, you know, Crystal Palace are about to make a U-turn on their decision.
Fantastic.
For Guehi.
So that's for
that is why we love the game of football.
Yeah. So apparently, so let me just give a bit of context here. So the Crystal Palace, Steve Parish had, you know, I mean, everybody knows from the beginning of the window, he had already mentioned that, you know, he was not going to let Guehi go on a free because this is his last season. I mean, he has just 1 year remaining. So what's his name? Their coach Oliver Glasner had tried to block Guehi's move. You know, with every he has sent different messages during press conferences saying, you know, we cannot let Guehi go after letting Eze go, right? So today, earlier this morning, I think yesterday was the first time. Was it yesterday or 2 days ago? Was the first time the reports came out that Guehi told the management of the club that, look, you guys just need to let me go. I need to join Liverpool. And the club was like, okay, fine, no problem, but we need to get in a replacement before we let you go. Fair enough. Guehi is like, no problem, but even if you don't let me go, I don't mind rendering my contract, but I'm not going to extend a contract. So this morning, Liverpool was giving Guehi was given the permission to go and do his medicals in Liverpool, but it appears that that was because Crystal Palace had already identified Igor Julio of Brighton as Guehi's replacement, even though he was going to come in on loan, right? But some minutes, or let me say a couple of hours ago, West Ham seems to hijack the deal for Igor Julio. They're trying to bring in Igor Julio, and it looks like the guy is now West Ham bound, which leaves Crystal Palace open at the back. They don't have any replacement yet. So at this point, the reports coming out is that Crystal Palace is trying to halt the deal to send Guehi to Liverpool, even though he is, he's scheduled for medical today. I don't know if he had already started medical, if he has already done, but we'll just, as the story unfolds, I will just give updates. So that's what's happening with Guehi now. So, I mean, there goes our title, right?
would it now would it be reasonable for Crystal Palace to hold on to Gueye, who has a year left, even if they don't have a replacement, or just take the money from Liverpool and
I
let the guy
think
go?
I'm just looking at it. I think at 35 million, 35 million pounds is a lot of money for Crystal Palace. I think they need to stop being stupid. I mean, look at Newcastle. They did all they could do to hold the sack. The worst thing you want is to have a player that is unhappy and would could potentially mess up your dressing room. So sell him, cash in on the player, 35 million pounds, and go get a replacement. It might be someone that's unknown, relatively unknown, and could just do the Brighton basically. Get someone that is unknown that has prospect, and hopefully it works out. But you have 35 million in the bank. That's a good thing. Because if you let him stay, Liverpool they're going to go in for him. They're going to go do the Real Madrid style. Go in for him in January, and you lose him for free. So I think just cash out on him and let him go to Liverpool if you have to. Yeah.
So, Totolo, I beg to differ there. Yeah, I think Guehi's case is entirely different from Isak. Isak was pushing for a move that he wanted to leave. Guehi is saying, "I don't mind staying, but I'm going to run down my contract and I'm going to sign a new deal." So I don't know if you saw the what he scored yesterday in their 3-0 defeat against 3-0 victory to Aston Villa. So this is someone that is still ready to give it all for the club. World Cup is also next year. If I'm going, I will stay, because if he goes to Liverpool, he's likely to be back up, most likely. It's the World Cup here. I don't know why he's trying to push a move when he needs all the minutes he can get. Everybody needs to be playing as much as they can play so that they can be called up for World Cup next year. At the same time, Crystal Palace have a very, very, very huge chance of winning an European trophy this year, because they're in Conference League. If they keep Guehi, in the team, it gives them more chances to win that. So if I'm Crystal Palace, I'll be fine. 35 million, I know it might sound like a lot to them, but if what bigger pictures, I win my first European trophy, by keeping my captain at the same time. So I think if I'm Crystal Palace, I'll keep him, because what we've seen so far, they're not getting any replacement. So why take that gamble? If it was earlier in the season, if they sold him earlier and they got a replacement, but now they're not going to get any replacement, so I think they should keep him.
Well, there's a chance of setting the player, to be honest. I know he's saying that he's being professional about it, and kudos to him, right? But there's a chance that he gets it and he's like, when I could have gone to Liverpool and I'm not there now, I'm still in Crystal Palace, and he's like kicking up a force. There's a chance. You never know. I mean, with these players, you never know.
I mean, with Guehi, because he's the captain, right? And he's been there. You wouldn't, he's a different kind of player. I mean, even up to yesterday, he was still playing. So, which tells me that he's not the kind of player to kick up a force. All right, and for the fact that he's been quiet all through the window until 2 days ago, where he now for the first time made his intention known to the management. The management just looked at us. Okay, we just need to respect this guy's wish, and he's been very professional. Waved the fans, said his goodbyes and all that stuff. So see, Crystal Palace just needs to they know that they are a selling club, right? They know they're a selling club. And Steve Parish is business for him. His business for the club owner, irrespective of what Glasner is saying. Now the thing is, the only problem with this is that they stand the risk of losing, having a fallout with the manager, and then the manager, ends up, leaving the club eventually, getting the offer from somewhere else. Bayer Leverkusen is there, Manchester United is there. Sorry to my you fans, but whatever. So the thing is, so the guy is like, he just wants to cash in on the player. It doesn't matter, he's not. So see, for some of these clubs in the middle of the table, they don't, it's not. They're not glory hunters. Like, they're not doing all these things to go out. If they get a trophy in the mix of it, like Crystal Palace did, good for them, right?
Yeah, that's how you see it. But now they've started getting some coaches that are trying to make a name for themselves. That's why Glasner and the CEO of Crystal Palace might not be on the same page on letting some players go. So he might decide to listen. This guy gave us our first trophy in how many years, or our first trophy ever. So let me just listen. I've sold the Berichez already. Let me keep this guy and let's see what we can do. If the guy tells me, give me Gueye, I promise to deliver your first European trophy, you might want to take a chance on that. That's how I see it. But Prince, moving on, we have other transfers to talk about, so we don't, because of time. Yohan Wissa has left Brentford finally after revolting. and he has gone to Newcastle for £55 million. What do you guys think? Let me start with Uyi. Uyi, what do you think about that deal? Is it a good deal for all parties? Brentford, Crystal Palace, and also Wissa.
I think it's a good deal. It's a good deal for Newcastle and it's a good deal for Wissa. But I'm very, very I feel sorry for Brentford. I mean, losing their coach, losing their two best players in one season. I don't know. I don't know what magic they are going to come up with this season. But if they finish in the top half,
they've only lost only one game now. They lost, right?
But it's still a long season. I mean, it's just 3 games now. So I don't know what magic they'll come up with this season. If they finish in the top, they might finish in the top of the table this season. It would be really impressive, really. For Wissa, I think the players have so much power these days. I mean, look at Isak now. Wissa going on strike, saying they're not going to play until they leave and all of that. So for Wissa, definitely is a good move because it's a step up. For Newcastle also, it gives them some sort of, I don't know. They've lost so much in the transfer window. All the players they try to go for, they never pick them. Finally, they've gotten Wissa, and we know Wissa is quality. So so it's a good deal for everybody but Brentford. Yeah.
Sorry, you might say that. I mean, no club wants to lose their best players, right? Sorry to just come in there. No player wants to lose their best player, but I still feel like Brentford, they kind of like gaining it. First of all, Wissa is of our price, right? They're paying 55 million for the guy, at 29-year-old, right? Now they have Igor Thiago, who is playing top now, who has scored 2 goals in 3 games, right? The guy looks like a real deal to me. The guy that plays the right wing, Ouattara, he looked like a real deal. If you look at that game against us, the first match of the season, those guys, they you could hardly tell that they sold 3 of their 4 backline, right?
Yeah.
Now, one of the guys that they sold, they brought in one guy, forgotten his name now. He came in on a Wednesday, on a Tuesday, and then played against Liverpool on Friday. And the guy was up for it, So, and now I think today they just announced the signing of one guy, so apparently that there's this defender they just signed. I think he's 18 or 19-year-old. They kept the guy a secret. No aid, no outlet, no media, nobody reported about the guy until they just broke the news now that they just signed this guy from I've forgotten the club they signed him from, but a defender. So I still feel like they still have a decent side. In my opinion, they say despite the fact that they performed surgery on their backline, but they're still competitive. Their second game, I think they won the second game. It was this last game that they lost or something like that. So, and then they have 55 million in their pockets, right? Fine, January they can always bring it somewhere. I don't think they are going to fight relegation or anything. So it's a pretty good deal.
Honestly, to add to talk about let's not leave Newcastle. I don't know. Honestly, I heard them talking about Liverpool and how much they've spent, and I think yes, it's a problem. I don't know how they are going to get away from financial fair play issues. And I heard Prince say Liverpool didn't sign last season, which I don't agree with. They signed some players, and also we as fans we fail to realize that FFP doesn't just stop at signing of players. It goes in terms of pitch management, coaching salaries, a lot of things go into FFP, right? So Liverpool spent money last season. Let's not make it sound like they were on higher.
I can tell you what Liverpool spent. But Chiesa, Mamardashvili,
and Gravenberch.
Those are the only 2
and
Gravenberch
came 2 seasons before. He came on that club.
No. He came last season. He came last season.
When you couldn't get Zubimendi, you got Gravenberch.
Yeah, exactly.
Gravenberch came last season.
Exactly. So my point with this is clearly we see what the penalty for breaching FFP is. It's 10 million and a slap on the wrist, pretty much. I mean, if I'm Newcastle, I don't know what they're doing. They're fucking around. Excuse my French. They're fucking around because, I mean, with all the money you have, what the hell are you telling me that you can't keep Isak? It's because of their lack of ambition that is causing it. They're trying to be organic. And
so for Isak, it had nothing to do with FFP.
No, it's not FFP. What I'm saying is it's because of them. They're not ambitious. You've had Saudi money for 3 years, and you are buying. You're trying to build. They're trying to build organically, which ideally is the right way to go. But I'm sorry, good guys don't get the hot chicks. Pretty much, you have to go. You have to go all out. Pretty much, spend money like City are spending. Spend money like Chelsea are spending. Spend money like Man U are spending. Spend money like Liverpool are spending. What are you doing? You're going to sign. First of all, you get Saudi money. You let one of your best players go. That's the guy that Maximum go. You don't really replace him. You go and buy Gordon. Like, who are these French players you're buying? I mean, how do you go with the kind of money you have? How do you go and try to go for Seshko and Seshko rejects you into a United? United are very big club. Don't get
so to be fair, for the Seshko deal, even so I think it's not more of the money
rejected
for
them.
that one.
Yeah,
it's more of the branding.
Seshko
they always offered
them.
more, but their projects were never really attractive.
Okay,
because they always offered more money to be
that's
fair.
Okay. When Chelsea were signing Drogba, Lampard, did they have an attractive project? Let's be realistic. When Man City were signing Aguero, Robinho, did they have an attractive project? I mean, Newcastle should bite the bullet, spend the money, get fined by an FFP and Premier League, pay 10, 20, 30 million pounds. Once they have 115 charges and nothing has been done about it, what are we talking about? They are not serious. If they are serious, they will start winning titles. They will start signing
Wait, Prince, while on that, sorry, Prince, I have a question for you now. While on Newcastle, even if we think they're not ambitious enough, they've spent some money. Their new front line is now Nick, Johan Wissa, and Langa, and Nick. Yeah, that's first name Nick. So three of them now. What do you think? And they still have Gordon. Let's not even forget.
And they signed Voldemort.
Yeah, and Nick is Voldemort. His first name is Nick.
Okay, the guy. Okay.
Yeah. So what do you think about? What do you expect from Newcastle now with this new transfer that has happened? They've let Isak go. They've gotten 2 players. Since letting Isak go. So what do you think is going to happen now at Newcastle as a team?
See,
do you think they'll be worse off than last season?
No, I don't. So well, the thing is, people. So because Isak, to me, in my opinion, Isak saga has kind of like dominated the entire transfer window, making kind of like taking away the spotlight from the other deals that they've done. I mean, these guys, they brought in Elanga, right, to replace what's this guy, Almiron. They brought in Malik Chow. I mean, all these guys are people that they say they're really highly rated. They brought in Malik Chow from AC Milan.
But they were not their first target. That's my point. They're not their first target.
Let's even put that aside, that first target or not. With the present team, with the present recruitment they've done,
Jacob Ramsey from Aston Villa, right? Now they have this Nick guy who, they are claiming that, everybody, I mean, reports suggest that, he's almost like the next best prospect, right, in European football. And then, you have Wissa, he's coming in with 19 Premier League goals, right? So the truth is, Newcastle, I feel like, even though it's not it's always going to be hard to replace Isak, right? And Callum Wilson had gone. I still feel like, they are still going to compete, and they're still going to do the way we knew Newcastle, finishing 5th, 6th, is still going to be around that, in my opinion.
So you think they'll get a UCL spot with their new recruitment after letting Isak go?
No, you see, you can't say right now. I wouldn't say UCL. Reason being that everybody knows that Arsenal, Liverpool, Man City, and Chelsea are basically the bookmakers' favorite to finish top 4. So I don't see Newcastle.
There's a high likelihood that it might be top 5 again in Europe. That's what I'm expecting.
So if it's top 5, you look Newcastle, Tottenham, I mean, based on what you would expect Newcastle and Tottenham to be, Newcastle, Tottenham, and possibly Manchester United to be among the 5th to 7th position. So I still think that they're, I feel like they have a very decent squad. Their midfield is still one of the best, right? Their defense is, I mean, Dan Bonds and Fabian Schär, I feel like they are good. What's his name? Livramento on this side. I mean, those guys, they have a pretty good squad, if you ask me. There's nothing square.
Okay, coming to, sorry, let's not forget we're here for transfer deadline. A transfer that happened today that was not spoken about is Kolo Muani to Spurs. The infamous Kolo Muani to Spurs, and to the infamous Spurs. Tolu, what do you have to say about that transfer? I don't think anybody saw it coming. We thought they were done with Xavi Simon after bullying Bluco. We thought they are billions. It has been a long time. It has been a long time. Anyhow you want to think it's up to you, because we know Chelsea has been taking Xavi Simons from God knows when. And they said they had agreed 5-year deal and whatnot. Whatever it is,
with the player. They didn't hijack it now. I'm
thinking we are saying
actually,
they agreed, Spurs hijacked. We thought they were all done.
It wasn't
He wasn't
hijacked.
high.
It
Well,
wasn't hijacked. It wasn't
Well,
hijacked.
either you like
was
it
a
or not,
small
Chelsea
case of
actually
hijack,
went
but it
It's not
in
to
for
look company.
him.
Let me say this. Let me just to clear it up. So we are
Let's
very,
not
we are very
digress.
clear.
We don't
No, we're not
don't
digressing.
explain.
We're not
Wait,
digressing.
and this conversation is
Let
about
me
Kolo
get.
Muani. Wait, you get
Okay,
it.
we are
It's
gone.
about Kolo Muani. I'm just building up to Kolo Muani. What we shall on the we all thought Tottenham were done after the acquisition of Xavi Simon, which Xavi Simon was supposedly on his way to Chelsea. He even went to London and they said, "Okay, I'd like you to go to Chelsea. If not, you go to Tottenham." Chelsea have been the one in connection with him for the longest time. Tottenham were never in the picture. That is certain. Tottenham came, got the deal. Either the right word is hijacked or stole or gave, whichever one you like. He left and he left RB Leipzig and he went to Tottenham. Great. We all thought they were all done. And next thing now we are seeing Kolo Muani to Tottenham. Here we go. Tolu, what do you think about that deal? Who are the winners here? Do you think that's a good acquisition for Spurs? Does it fit into their style of play, whatever their style of play is now? And where do you see them? What do you see what do you see the impact on the team going forward?
Spurs will never be ambitious for me. So it doesn't matter who they sign, really. I mean, Kolo Muani, what's he gonna do? I mean, because when you look at the squad, right? They've done a bit of business. They've got in Xavi. Now they have Kolo Muani. They have Kudus in there. But at best, what can Spurs really do? Maybe they make Europa, and maybe they try and win, because now they're in the Champions League. I don't think they can win it. And they never win any titles anyway. But just to stay on...
No, that's not right. They're the current champions
Europa
of Europa League, so don't belittle them.
No, I'm talking about like trying to win the Champions League. There is no hope for them. There's no hope in the league as well. So, I mean, what else? Speaking about Kolo Muani, though, I think he's a decent striker. He's not someone who is like world class or someone who can really rip up trees. He's just decent and he's fast. So he's going to fit into Thomas Frank's system, I think. The way Thomas Frank used the likes of Mbeumo and as outlets. So I think he would really fit in, and I think he would enjoy his game with Kudus as well, and Xavi behind him. So Spurs will...
So do you think he will be their first choice striker? Backup
He has to be.
Okay.
I don't think Tel is as good as Muani is.
No, not just Tel. They have Solanke.
They have Solanke.
They have Richarlison.
Solanke has fallen off a cliff. I mean, does he...
Okay, so let's walk this question backward. While on this particular transfer, Kolo Muani, how many goals do you think he's going to get for Spurs this season?
15 goals, thereabout.
EPL goals to be specific.
Yeah, between 10 and 15 goals, yeah.
Kolo Muani.
Okay, Prince, I have a question. We forgot to ask it while we're speaking about Isak, the gigantic transfer. How many goals do you think, EPL goals, do you think Isak, for 2 seasons, he has been on 20 plus? Is he going to take it a notch higher? How many goals do you think he's going to get?
I mean, to be honest, it's difficult for me to call, because I mean, if you consider the fact that first of all, the first 3 games he has not played, right, and then probably the next 2 or 3.
That's not an excuse. Let's go back to when they gave Suarez 7-match ban, and he came back that season. I think he scored 30 goals. So don't come down. Don't say that. Don't say that. We did not spend 130 million pounds.
Okay, let me
for Liverpool fans come on the podcast and come and give excuses. Don't do that.
For a player of Isak's quality, right? I can tell you that baseline, he should get double digits, like 10 goals minimum. Minimum.
Jackson got 12 goals last season, though.
What's all this now? What's all this? You guys are quiet. What's all this?
So
I spent 130 million to come and talk about 10 goals in what we should be asking for Menchescu from Timberland Shescu.
Wait now.
If Shescu even give us 10 goals, we're going to shout.
No,
why is he talking 10 goals?
He can't be less than 20 goals.
No, what I'm saying is he's going to score double digits. That's my point.
No,
right?
10 goals
right?
is not talking about double digits. Don't use 10 goals as the baseline.
I'm just giving. Okay, normally you expect Isak to give you like 20 goals, right?
Please be straightforward. How many goals minimum?
Premier League goals, exactly.
Premier League goals do you think Isak should give? After spending, after spending, breaking British record,
exactly.
130 million pounds.
He has 35 games to play as it stands. Right?
Okay, how many goals?
25 goals.
I'll see puts that maybe 2021. Because let me tell you, the goal is going to be shared.
That's all right. That's all right.
See, you
So
have
no, it's fine. It's fine. I hear
playing
you.
there, right? You have Salah playing there. He's going to get more. I feel like he's going to get
Then
more.
why did you sign? If he's gonna give you 2025, why? Sorry, 20 goals, 2021. Why did
He
you sign
said
him?
10. He
Because,
stayed with 10. He stayed with 10.
No,
Ekitike,
because we did not sign.
Ekitike is already on the way to 20 goals. So why
Exactly. Ekitike is a 20-goal player.
Chill. We did not sign Isak for just this season. This is a project for crying out loud, right? This is a project for crying out loud. He's gonna get most of his goals once Salah leaves.
No, when you sign players for 130 million, it doesn't.
It's instant impact. It's not project.
Yeah, no, not project.
Project is not 130 million.
When you sign a young player for his prospect, or you sign.
So Viet is for what? Are
it's not a project. It can't be a project.
Viet is not a project player now. You don't play 100 million for project now. Project is what Chelsea is doing now. Project is what Chelsea is doing.
When we're talking about project, we're talking about the next 4 or 5 years.
Even the Ekitike, their backup striker is like it's something million euros. I mean,
yes, now.
What are you talking about?
So let's not stress it. Let's move on. Before we forget, Isam, are you there? Let's bring you into the fold. Yeah, we talked about Newcastle because we're meant to ask questions about performance of all the new signings. So Wissa last season gave us 19 EPL goals. He has recently just joined Newcastle on deadline day. What do you think his contribution will be like in terms of goals to Newcastle? They don't have that point man anymore. How many goals do you think you should be expecting from a Wissa now that has joined Newcastle?
I think it's a good signing if you ask me. Everyone is trying to play safe, going for EPL tested talents before anything else. I'll give him. I see him scoring about 15 goals at least in the EPL. He's likely the one replacing Isak, and that team does create chances. So if Gordon can stay off the red cards and you have that same midfield of Joelinton,
Tonali,
Tolani and Gomares.
Bruno.
So you really can get a 15-goal striker, and I think Wissa can do that. He's proven he can do it at Brighton, facing similar teams. So I think
Brentford.
He's gonna have Brentford. So I think he's gonna have.
But is he gonna be the starting? Is he gonna be the starting striker though?
Absolutely. You'll not bench someone that has done it in the EPL because you have a German striker. I feel the German.
Don't forget they paid 75 million for that German striker for Nick.
We are based on Tesco. There's no news.
Because reports are that he's replacing Callum Wilson.
Oh, perfect. So I don't.
So that's a backup.
Yeah, it's a backup.
That's backup.
I don't see him starting ahead of Wissa.
No. I'm saying that Wissa is replacing Callum Wilson.
Wissa will be benched.
Yeah, but I'm saying Wissa would be the starting striker for Newcastle.
I agree too. Yeah,
that must be.
Has to be.
Okay.
I disagree. Wissa cannot start.
Although, so let me clear something here. The Nick Wotamade guy, right? So apparently he's not an actual number 9. Okay, he plays more of number, like behind the striker and everything. So that's why Newcastle hasn't. They haven't still gotten the second striker yet, right? That's why they were going all in for Strand Larsen to be at basically their main guy, while Wissa is supposed to be like Callum Wilson's replacement. So Nick is more or less like he's more or less supposed to be like a midfield.
9.5.
Yeah,
So,
9.5.
Okay.
9.5.
So we see.
Why should Strand play ahead of Wissa? On what basis?
Yeah.
Who?
Strand Larsen. Why should he start ahead of Wissa?
Good question.
I mean,
I think Wissa will walk into that team.
Exactly.
You don't score 19 EPL goals and he pays his flyer going to the bench. How many people?
This conversation started 1 month ago.
Yes, now forget Wissa. Wissa is going to start. Any other person will compliment him.
That deal. Wissa has always been the number 1.
Yeah, he was. They were just bent and stuck on.
So I don't see how he's a backup, even if they say it's President Wilson.
So let's talk about another transfer that happened today also. Our Johnny man, Sancho. I think we got a year we go to Aston Villa. The guy keeps moving around like a barber's chair. So Jumong, I remember how you were hailing Sancho at one point in time when Chelsea acquired him. Now he's back to where he belongs, mid-table team. Do you think he's gonna bring the spark of the Sancho we once knew at Dortmund? Or his career has come to an end, and he just keep collecting 300k till his contract expires.
For me, I will always still blame Bluco letting Sancho go. for Gittins? For crying out loud. Who the fuck is Gittins?
Sancho, I don't know the jazz that Sancho has given Jumong.
What is Sancho? Sancho?
Wait, let me complete
What
what
did
I'm
he
saying.
do?
Let me complete what I'm saying. Bluco are very stupid, foolish, and stingy. That's the reason they couldn't give a player that earns much his money. They wanted him to come down to 120. They're very
What?
stupid.
You are taking Kopama 150 or 120.
Wait. Uyi, can you wait? Just wait. You cannot win the league by paying players 70,000. Sancho is far better than, to me, Sancho is far better than Garnacho, Gittins, all those bullshit rubbish. Sorry for my words.
Nah.
My choice of words, sorry. The players they signed for that left position, I would still prefer Sancho over that Gittins. Who is even Gittins? A player from Dortmund that is 22 years, they will always sign a 19 and 18-year-old boy, and you expect them to perform a miracle.
Okay, so I know you are very passionate. We'll come back to Chelsea
I need to
acquisition,
respond.
but
Can I
now
respond?
it is. When you say we don't digress, wait.
No, we won't digress.
Jumong, so let Jumong has not answered the question I asked him.
Okay.
The question is Sancho's here. We go to Aston Villa. You've not still answered that question.
That's what I want to answer now. I just wanted to bring what made him go to Aston Villa. I believe the Man U that was still saying they are not going to pay half of the money later agreed to even pay 65% of the money. And I believe if given a chance, like they gave to Rashford, he's going to perform in Aston Villa. That's just
okay. You wanted to say something.
So let me respond to that. First of all, I was on the Sancho bandwagon, right, when he signed for Chelsea. And for me, when players sign from United, United have been immense in the last couple of years. You give them a chance, let them show what they have. And Sancho didn't light it up. Let's call it what it is. He didn't light it up to the point where he was being benched at some point in time. In fact, he was lucky that Mykhailo Mudryk had the drug issue. Then that made him the only left wing guy. In fact, towards the end of the season, Maresca started using Madueke, who was supposed to be a right winger, to play left wing. So it tells you a lot. Now, even at that, I still was like, let's keep Sancho. It's not a bad option. Sign somebody else and keep Sancho. And what shocked me is that when you have a player that thinks he's more than what he is, it's a problem. Sancho is not a serious player. He has no business playing football, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, you are in a club that you claim you like, that you claim you're not playing football. I mean, your primary aim should be to play football. You're in a club that you're not playing football, you're getting playing time and all of that, and they're telling you, now look at our wage structure. And no.
I can't, if you were to be your brother, I can't go down because I want to play for Chelsea. I'll remove what I'm telling. No.
Let me finish. Let me finish. Can I finish?
I know, don't just use it. You remember what happened in the Siemens deal? You remember what happened in the Siemens deal? Please don't use that. I hate when Chelsea fans say that. If a player likes him, they will have to take a pay cut. Why on earth would they take a pay cut?
Let me finish now.
Don't use that as an example.
Can I finish?
Okay, guys. Please, let's not forget. We have just 1 or 2 more minutes to end the transfer window.
I need to land.
Wait, Jumong, wait, decorum. Wait. Jumong, wait. Let's not, so we don't digress here.
No,
but I'd like to focus on.
I need to. Okay.
Yeah, let's round up.
We quickly round up. Jumong, let's round up.
To quickly round up, when you are in a team and there's a wage structure, now you can agree with Bluco's policy or not. I don't agree with it. You can agree with their strategy or whatever. They have an incentivized based system. Kopama was on less than 100 before. Last season they made it 120 and 150. And I think based on the Club World Cup and the other trophies they've won, more players are closer to 200 now. It means the more you do well, the better you earn. And even United now, they adopted that model. They incentivize the model. A lot of clubs are adopting it. As crazy as you think it is incentivized. So if you think you are so good and you can back yourself, then I'm sorry, in my club, if the reason United have the issue they have is when they start paying people like Rashford 300 plus, and that's why they have the issues they have. Because any player that walks in that is half decent will point to Rashford and say, look at what is earning, I need to earn that. How would you pay Sancho ahead of Palmer? It doesn't make any sense. So that's where I'm going to end it. Sancho is not a serious player, and clearly he's not going to be a serious player. So we can move on from that. I'm happy we don't have Sancho. Can go to Aston Villa.
Okay, guys, let's quickly look at 2 things. Before the transfer window has closed officially now. Let's talk about deals that did not go through. That fell through. Fermin Lopez, I don't know what Chelsea are smoking at Stamford Bridge. They don't have to get a player of that quality for £30 million. They would have just brought gun to Camp Nou and just steal the player. Then also Martinez, he fell through, he didn't go through. I don't know why Man were unable to get over the line. So let's talk about Fermin Lopez, and Isioma, let's talk about Martinez. So let's start with Isioma. What happened? We're hoping you're going to get the World Cup winner. That does.
I think it was more like a negotiation move. We knew we needed a goalkeeper before end of the window, but Antwerp were not really willing to play games. They kept changing the amount they required to sign Lemans, and so we didn't want a situation where we would end the window and wouldn't have any quality goalkeeper in the club. So we reactivated the conversation with Villa on the basis that it becomes our plan B if the deal to sign Lemans fails. So, but we did end up meeting or agreeing or reaching an agreement with Antwerp for 18.2 million, I think, to sign Lemans. I think that was originally the plan because we wanted a young goalkeeper, one that is who shows the right quality and also has some room to develop in the coming years. And I think is the one that we always wanted. I don't think we would go for Martinez anymore. I'm sorry. I also didn't mind Martinez, but unfortunately, we wanted one goalkeeper and we got our plan B. So I wish him all the best with Villa for the rest of the season.
I mean, speaking about Chelsea and Fermin Lopez, I guess Chelsea, what's going on? Just wanted to get an extra midfielder. I thought you guys had enough depth already. So it turns out,
I think it was.
Priorities changed because of your striker situation, and also the Jackson deal.
I don't think so. I think it was all. I think Chelsea were being smart, if you ask me. I don't. Again, like I was saying, Jamal, I don't really fancy these Chelsea owners. But one thing you can accept is that they are actually smart at what they do. So let's start with the Xavi Simons. They wanted Xavi Simons, they wanted Garnacho, right? Xavi Simons wasn't going to come. I think they always wanted one of them in the long run, but they didn't mind having two of them. So when they got Garnacho, they needed Jackson and Nkunku gone. The whole Jackson conundrum and all of that was just to get Bayern. They always wanted to sell Jackson. So when luckily or unluckily, Delap got injured and they asked Jackson to come back. Jackson kicked off the falls and all of that. So they forced Bayern's hand into making the deal a loan with obligation to buy, which really means Jackson is gone. No two ways about it. And they've sold Jackson for over £70 million. Let that sink in. At the start of the transfer window, Chelsea said they wanted £80 million for Jackson. And they sold it for £70 million. I'm sure if I tell anybody.
To buy. It's not done.
No, it's obligation to buy. £50 million loan fee and 50 million or so.
Is it option to buy or obligation to buy?
No, obligation to buy. Initially, it was option. So when Chelsea recalled Jackson, it's obligation. So in entirety, like 70 million, and that's ridiculous for Jackson, right? We all know that. So I think with Fermin Lopez, Chelsea were just trying their luck, pretty much trying their luck, and hence why they also went for Bonanote. Also, I think if Barca was stupid enough to sell Lopez for 40 million euros, Chelsea would have gone for it. But they knew that. I think they knew that Barca were not stupid enough to do that, but they were trying their luck. So yeah, I think for Chelsea it was just trying their luck with different opportunities and saying. But they already went for Bonanote, and that was a done deal on loan and all of that. So yeah, I think all this has played out the way sort of Chelsea sort of wanted it. I think, but people think, oh, we'll miss out on Xavi Simons, miss out on Fermin Lopez. I don't think that's the case. I mean, this is Chelsea that signed Mudryk for God knows how much. I don't think it was. I think Chelsea have done. They've gotten their targets. Do I agree with target? That's a different conversation. But I think they've gotten the major targets they want to get going to the transfer window.
I mean, currently it appears that you do not have enough in your striking department because now it's Joao Pedro that's left. I believe you just.
No, but don't forget we brought back McGill. So you can argue whether it's good enough for. But we brought McGill. We brought McGill while we're discussing Jackson. So there was a chance where we would have had Jackson, McGill, and Joao Pedro. And this guy, Delap, is only out for 2 months, really. So think about it. It's not actually as bad as you think it is.
So with Delap out for 2 months, well, you've got Garnacho as well. Though, I mean, let me go to Sam on this one. Do Chelsea, the way Chelsea are conducting their business, just buying and selling players, do they look like they're actually a serious team that wants to actually win the title, win the Champions League, or they're just doing business?
For me, I you look at their mid rate, their defense rate, but we have more depth.
Sam,
And
hold on. There's an issue with your mic. So, could you fix your mic? Let me come back to you. So, let me just go to Prince on it. Like, do you think Chelsea are like looking like a serious club with the business they're doing, or it's just business?
As in terms of business, or in terms of like how they are, you're asking how their window has gone so far.
I mean, you look at for instance, you take your club for example, and the kind of caliber of players you've signed, which shows intent of you guys want to win, and you look at Chelsea and the kind of calibers they are signing, is like they're just signing youngsters to sell them again. Doesn't look like they are serious that they want to actually win.
Well, honestly, when the window initially opened, right, and Chelsea, were being linked to all these various players, Xavi Simons, this person, that person, it felt like Chelsea, is okay. They're about to do something. That's why, from the get-go, people were like, okay, Chelsea's going to, the way Chelsea's window is going, with Delap in and João Pedro in, there's no way they're going to be in the top 4 conversation. So I still feel like, the players that they've brought in, like you'd expect that the manager would also have a say in these things, and saying, this guy, I feel like he fits into what my plans are and whatever.
Prince, Chelsea managers don't have a single say.
No, not in terms of like giving green light to say, okay, sign this person or not sign this person. It might just be, what do you think of the deal? I mean, like, he's the person that's going to use the players now.
They don't ask him. They buy. That's the problem. They don't ask him. They buy whatever they want to buy.
I seriously doubt
buy
that.
Whatever they
One
want
or
to
two
buy.
players, he may have an input to say, hey, this guy is not going to. Some of the players that they buy, it's just for them to buy and sell, right? But while some
most
that
of
are
them.
going to the
Most
street,
of the
for
players.
example, a player like João Pedro, do you think that they wouldn't have asked the guy? Even Buonanotte, I think he worked with Buonanotte before in Leicester City or something.
I wanted to stay, not to digress, I wanted to stay on like the question really is like, with Chelsea, the kind of signings Chelsea are making, is it showing ambition and intent to win? Is this the caliber of players that are required to get Chelsea back to, as they were over the course of the last 20 years?
At this point, judging by what Liverpool and Arsenal are doing, right? You wouldn't expect that the Chelsea, with the players that they've signed in, can bring them to glory days like that. I still feel like I still feel like they're still in transition, so to speak. They're slowly getting there. Right, but at this moment in time where we're speaking, the players are just they're good enough to finish in the top 4, and that is where it is now. No, any talk of league or dominating Europe, I don't think these players are will cut it for me. They're just regular signings.
I mean, Jumong, looking at your club, because you like to banter Arsenal in terms of we like doing process and phases, but it seems Chelsea is doing the exact same thing. So how long is your phases going to take and your process before you get back to finally winning?
Well, for me, I think Chelsea can just be lucky in winning cups. Just like I said before in the group, I don't see Chelsea winning the Premier League in the next 5 to 6 years. With the way the players, the kind of players they sign, the amount of
5 years.
Yes, I said that in the group,
What?
and someone tackled me. I said that, yes.
After 2
I
billion.
can't beat myself. Yes. No, forget about spending 2 billion. They are making money. I think the thing that Blue Co are doing presently, I believe they just want to make money out of Chelsea. They don't have passion for football. I don't think so. Because if you have passion for football, you can't be buying 19, 20, 19, 17-year-old kids. No, just like I said the other day, Tosin is the only aged player, followed by Cucurella and Sanchez. Before you call James, I'm not calling the people that are not in the team, like Sterling and Chilwell. I'm calling the people in the team. The core of the players are 22 below. How can you win the league with that? See the kind of money Liverpool splash. Funny enough, just the way I said it before, I will happily congratulate Liverpool for winning the Premier League than Arsenal. But I'm still afraid of Arsenal with the way they recruited. Let's just face the fact. I don't see Chelsea winning the league in the next 5 to 6 years. They can just be lucky. They convinced the fans with the Club World Cup win, which I know that the only thing we can actually win this season is either FA Cup, which I'm afraid we might not, or Carling Cup. But winning the league or Champions League, I don't see us in the next 5 years. Champions League maybe by luck. It comes and goes. But you see the league of 38 games, I don't see Chelsea winning its next 5 or 6 years.
Wow, I can't believe what I'm hearing. After 2 billion, and you guys have been at this. Blue Cars been here since what year now?
This is the fourth year.
4 years now.
These are 3 years.
Okay, so it's
this is the fourth year.
Let's just say 3 or 4 years.
2021.
3 or 4 years that they've been doing this.
They're
spending a lot of money, and it still doesn't look like.
But in the first year, that first year, Todd Boehly was the sporting director. So that was when we made the awful signings of Koulibaly. That was when we signed Sterling and gave him 350,000. That was when we were signing all those players. That was even when James signed his contract of 250,000. So just fast forward a year later, they changed. Todd Boehly stepped down as the sporting director. That was when Mount started demanding for the same 250 or 270, and Bluco refused. To speak my mind now, I won't be surprised in the next 2 or 3 years, Palmer, Enzo, and Caicedo leaves the club if they continue with the way they are going now.
Well, I mean, Isioma, do you think this model that Chelsea is trying to run is sustainable? I mean, like, what level would this keep them at? Would it just keep them finishing top 4, or they are going to drop out and it's going to crash? How sustainable is this model their owners are trying to run?
I do have a more positive outlook for it, different from Jumong's thoughts. They are not just going for young 20-something-year-old players that are just fresh off the academy or under 21s. They are going for world beaters. They are going for your Enzo, your Caicedo, your Palmer. These are young players that are also, you can say, world class, if you like. They've just won that World Club championship, making them the best team with, again, young players. It's also going to keep them at the top for, say, the next 5 years, which I think is what is smart about it. And it's for the same reason we went for a Lamens versus a World Cup winning Martinez. There are 2 ways to go. If you want short-term success or short-term victory, you might want to go for like the older players that are already established. But if your project is to have a core of players that are going to be there for a long time, I think Chelsea are doing it the right way. They're not just bringing any young players. Estavio is one of the youngest or best young prospects in world football. He's there in Chelsea. Palmer is another. João Pedro just got, I think there was a shout out from Suarez that he's the center forward that excites him. And when you get that from a legend of the game like Suarez for your young striker, it tells a lot. So I can't tell of any young player that's going to Chelsea that is either without potential or not already a world beater. So I think they're going about it the right way. It's working for them where they are right now in the league, off the back of a World Club championship win. I don't know why Jumong is so negative about it. It's not like they are failing so far. So I think on a more positive note and to balance the argument, I think what they're doing is working right now. Until it fails, then we can start raising doubts. But for now, it's working.
It's something that will definitely fail. I didn't say the club won't win anything. if you remember my words clearly, I said I don't see Chelsea Football Club winning the Premier League, which is a 38 games marathon league, in the next 5 or 6 years.
Now, which is okay.
I didn't say that off the cups.
Now,
Yes,
which
in
is
terms of cups.
okay. It's okay, absolutely. So if you don't see them winning the league this year, that's not the only tournaments. They have the Champions League, they have the FA Cup, they
Of
have
course, I made
and,
mention. Yeah,
and
of course.
you need players that can go the extra mile, the legs that will last longer. You see us talking about in Man U now. Sorry to digress from Chelsea. We're trying to replace Casemiro. We want Baleba. Everybody is going for young talents that have been proven at the top level because they can, if you keep them, they can stay for a long time and help you build the core for winning side. And I think that's what most teams are doing now. EPL is very physical, it's very demanding. So a mix of experience and mostly young legs is what I think is a good mix for most of the teams that want to succeed. And I think Chelsea is doing about the right thing. You have fair balance of experience. You have Pedro Netos of this world, and Enzo is a World Cup winner. He might be young, but you don't consider him a young star in the sense of the word. So he's very experienced. Caicedo is a leader. He's young, but he's a leader. Um, Cucurella has won the Euros. He's proven time and time again that he can do it at the top level. So you have James as well. You have a good balance of experienced, though they are young or really experienced, and they are winners as well. So I wouldn't panic if you ask me, just because of their age, because they've been doing it at least for say the last 3-4 years at the top level. These young players.
Speaking on young players and Manchester United, I believe you just sold Rasmus Højlund to what club again?
Napoli.
So Rasmus was just sold to Napoli for, I think, for something £1 million, was it? And to me, that is just crazy because I think the guy is not. I've not seen a footballer that bad in a long time. So Man United just sold Højlund, and you look at the Manchester United team now, and I just don't think you guys have done enough in the transfer window. Your midfield is still weak. Your manager refuses to use Mainu, and you guys still won't let Mainu go on his required loan. I don't think the players that should go out of the club really, they've sorted that out. I mean, what do you think about United's business just transfer window so far?
I think it's could be better if you ask me, but at the same time, I understand that we had a lot of players that needed to leave. Unfortunately for us, they almost stayed to the last day of the transfer deadline before we could get them out of the club. And so that also affected us negatively in terms of bringing in new players to the club. For Rasmus, he loves the team. He loves Manchester United. So although the signing is with an obligation to buy for Napoli, I feel when it comes to the point where he decides whether or not he might want to leave the door open. I would want to leave it that way. But again, it depends on how he performs. I'm actually worried because we have a very solid midfield in Napoli, and he's there mainly because Lukaku is injured. If Lukaku returns, he might not have as much playing time because Lukaku, as we all know, is Conte's #1 striker. So that's also something to have at the back of our mind. I didn't think he was absolutely terrible. He unfortunately played at a time where we didn't create enough chances as a team. Even if you had brought Cristiano Ronaldo to our team at that point, he would struggle to score. This season, we're creating more chances, which is why I understand why it's a pain for him to leave at this point. When we are our last game against Burnley, we had 26 attempts. So that's a striker's dream. And unfortunately, now we are creating. He's had to go. I wish him all the best. I think he's been very professional. He's respected the club. He's shown that he's not only a player for us, he's a fan for the club. So I wish him all the best. I don't think he's a bad player. If he gets the services that he should get as a striker, he will give you the goals. He has the goals in him, as we saw in Europa League last season. So I think he scored 10 goals, which is not the best, but it's also not absolutely terrible, like you put it. So I think he's a youngster that can definitely become a world-class striker in the coming years.
So
And that's
speaking on
for
your
us. So what
midfield,
was the other player? Sancho, was it?
no, on your midfield, because you guys went for Baleba this summer and Brighton told you to go away, and they're not they are not selling. And Bruno being in central midfield, I mean, that's just not going to work. Well, it doesn't even make any sense. And United did not go ahead to get another replacement, and still your manager is refusing to use Kobe Mainu. What's the solution to that central midfield?
Right now, I wouldn't say I have the answers to your question, but I would hope Meno gets to play more. I think there's a push to keep him, and part of the plan to keep him is to give him more minutes. So I see a season where Meno plays a lot more. What I wouldn't know for sure is if the coach will open to bench like a Mason Mount to create that opportunity to have Maino to play in central midfield alongside Casemiro, and then maybe Bruno stays in front of the two of them. So there's a chance that Maino gets to play. For right now, it does seem like he wants to start out with Casemiro and then bring in Maino for the second half, which I don't think is the best because whenever Casemiro leaves, we tend to concede a lot of goals. So I think Casemiro is needed, but he can't do 90 minutes. So Maino comes in. Whether or not playing 45 minutes is good enough for Maino, it will be left to be seen. But I do think for a more solid midfield, we should have Maino play with Casemiro and then Bruno goes a little bit forward. I don't like seeing Bruno at the back. He's not doing us a lot of good so far. I think he flourishes better when he's just supporting the strikers, just playing that 10 is where he really does his damage, and I hope to see more of that. But with Amorim, we've said it before, he's very rigid, he's very inflexible, he sticks to his formation and the same players, which is the same issues we had with Eric Ten Hag. I just hope he can be flexible and change things. I really hope so. But for now, Meno has to play. We don't have we don't have too many options in that central midfield at the moment.
I'm hearing a lot of hope from Easy. Jumong, what's going on? What do you think about United? Do they look like they're serious this season? Is it going to be any better? We are going to be seated here again next year discussing how this manager is going to be sacked.
No, I think mine is my only issue is that Amorim is stubborn. You've seen this particular formation and tactics. It's not working. It's not working. Even if you're going to still use it, try something new. Just try something new. You have the likes of Mbeumo, an excellent player I've always admired. Kuna, a wonderful player. You have Sesko. Why are you benching him? And, excuse me, Bruno is nothing in that central midfield. Bruno is an attacking midfield. Bruno has created the highest number of chances in how many years now in the Premier League? No one comes close to him. You don't take him back. You don't play Mason Mount as left wing just for you to accommodate Mbeumo as number 9. No, do a 4-3-3. Intersolate your left wing back. Let your left back come into the midfield. Choke the midfield like other teams play. Chelsea plays same way. Chelsea plays that. Arsenal, Manchester City. Change something. I like Amorim, I won't lie. And I'll feel bad for him if he gets sacked. But I don't think he would escape that sack come December if he continues this same way he's going. Now, Nkunga is injured. What are you going to do? Bring Bruno up front. Play Sesko. Please. I will always say that. I know Man U fans will think I'm trying to banter them. No. Ugarte is not a good player. I will always play Casemiro ahead of Ugarte. Play Casemiro and Kobe Menu. Play the two of them. Play Bruno. If you're playing two attacking mid or two number 10s, play Bruno and Mbeumo. Then use Sesko. If you keep keeping him on the bench, when is he going to start scoring? You got him for close to 18 million. You want him to score. You need to start using him always. Yes, he might be. He's still young. He might not be getting. Continue using him. He will get in one day. That's just my thought. I just don't wish bad for Amorim. I like him personally. I'm talking about my own.
Let's see if he changes, Jumong. You know,
yeah, that's just mine. He just needs to change.
Cunha is injured now, so he might be forced. I think that will force his hand to play Sesko. If he doesn't do it, then honestly, I don't know what his plan is. Because even signing Lemens, I wouldn't be shocked if he still starts the India in goal. He's you know, it's like the old Mourinho when you have this unshakable faith about certain players, and regardless of what the media or the fans are saying about the players, you are still going to start them because you trust them. And over time, it worked for Mourinho because his players were ready to die for him on the pitch because of that trust he had in them. But unfortunately, I think Amorim has to know when to be pragmatic. I didn't think Onana was going to play this season. He put him in the Carling Cup game, and we are out of that tournament. So it tells you need to find a fine balance between trusting players and knowing when they are just not working for you, and then trying other people out. So would leave it at that. I will leave it at that. I'm not happy that we're paying part of Sancho's salary. I wanted to mention that when we talked about Aston Villa. I think we need to get him out. We need to get him out totally so that there's no connection with us and him. But I like where we are now. Based on the outgoings, we're able to get most of they call them the bomb squad. I think it's just Malaysia that is left. Of the 5 players we really needed to get out. And hopefully with the Turkish window and the Saudi window still open for the next 2 weeks, I hope something happens and Malaysia gets a club. Just so it frees up some of that wage burden, and then it sets up us for a better window in January to bring in more additions to help the squad.
So we'll be rounding off now, but just before we round off, I'd like to just touch on 2 players. That's Victor Boniface and Sterling. So turns out Sterling will be staying after all. So how do you feel about that, Jumong? And Easy, you just touch on Boniface real quick, who finally got his move out of
just like we say, Sterling is the senior man in the team. I just got the news. I saw the news that he refused going to Saudi. That he has no interest going to Saudi. Sterling is coming to the end of his career. For me, I would have gone there to pack it up, come back in January. We are earning 350,000 in Chelsea. Probably you're going to be on the bench for most half of the season. What does that say about you? It doesn't say any good about you. If I were to be him, I'll go to Saudi, stay there between now and January, and come back and play football and be fit again. Sterling thinks he's doing Chelsea, that Chelsea decide to keep him out of the team. Well, he will be there and be chucking in the money. I don't think Chelsea cares. They don't. And Maresca, that I know, if Maresca can't integrate Chilwell, that was so calm, professional into the team, I don't see Sterling coming back to that team. Maybe he will be.
But he's on very high wages, isn't he?
Yeah, 330,000 weekly. That contract was signed by. Yeah, and his contract is expiring in 2027. He signed a 5 years contract.
This is the thing. Nobody is going to be willing to pay that wage.
Nobody, and he's not even talking about taking a wage. Saudi team, Al Ittihad wants to pay the money, even added to 400,000. Sterling refused. So, if they keep him, and if Chelsea says that he's going to be playing with the under-21s, he has no choice than to do that, because Chelsea did that to Malouda. They wanted Malouda, so Malouda refused. They pushed him to under-21. He played there for 1 year before he agreed to leave. So I just wish Chelsea would do the same to Sterling. That's just my own take.
Anyway, Easy, let's just touch on Boniface, who apparently had failed his medicals to go to AC Milan. It's one of the very rare things to hear a player actually failing medical.
No, he failed medical twice. January to Saudi Arabia, and AC Milan this summer?
Well,
It's
to
very,
be
very
fair,
rare occasion.
from the player's account, he didn't fail the medical, and that was why he asked Fabrizio to bring the post down. I think what he said was that AC Milan decided to toe the line of caution because he's had two ACL surgeries in the last
Yes.
few years, and so they just didn't want to risk it and invest in that deal, then bringing him in. So I'm happy he's made the trip to, yes, he made the signing to Werder Bremen because it's a World Cup year and the striking department for the Super Eagles is, I tell you, is highly competitive. Apart from Victor Osimhen, I don't think there's anybody that can be 100% sure. If Nigeria makes the World Cup, every other striker apart from Victor Osimhen will have to fight for their place.
Yeah, Tolu as
Is
well.
Tara
Tolu
Murphy
and
is yeah, Tolu just made it to Wolves.
Wolves,
Tara
yeah.
Murphy is striking. Desas is doing great.
Ciro
We have,
Desas.
honestly, I think we're embarrassed with attacking talent. And so he needs a team that would at least trust him to get the minutes. I really wish he stays fit all through and doesn't get injured. And prove people wrong that he can be fit for a long time, which I think is the whole issue around the circus of whether he's failing medicals. Teams will not want to mess with players that have like had those two serious
Yes,
injuries
yeah,
in recent
of
years,
course.
and he's young. That's why it's really important for him to
But
like get in.
is Werder Bremen not a downgrade from Leverkusen?
Of course,
You would call it a downgrade if they
is.
had Jabi Alonso. Let's not forget they've sold the players that actually made them tick, and they are struggling this season. So, if you asked this question last season, it would be an outright yes. But the way they are going this season, I really don't know. They might struggle, and it might not. It might turn out to be a good move for him versus a downgrade like you want to consider it. Werder Bremen in Germany are one of the big teams. They've seen really great players. Victor Osimhen was there at some point. Kevin De Bruyne was there at some point. They've had really big name world class players come through their ranks. So let's hope it turns out well for him. I don't consider them a small or a lower ranking
No,
German side.
Kevin De Bruyne played for Wolfsburg.
Oh, Wolfsburg.
Not
Also.
Werder Bremen.
That's the other one.
Wolfsburg.
Wolfsburg.
Him, Eden Zeko, and co.
Yeah. So, but Werder Bremen are one of the teams that usually you would say traditionally make it to Europe from the German league. So I don't consider them a small team. They've not had the best years recently, but with the way
Klose came from there to Bayern Munich.
It's a good team. I don't consider it a downgrade, but I think
Ozil is another player.
Definitely make a name in that team.
All right. So now we've come to an end. Thanks, guys, for joining us. We've had an amazing session. See you again next time. It's the Round Letter Podcast. Like, share, comment, and subscribe.
Thanks, fans. Bye.
Thank you, guys. Bye.